Hello to all of my loved ones. How are you all doing? It's Love Marlene 411, and welcome to the Sip and Chat. You know what we do over here on this channel. We talk about the love we have for ourselves in hopes that that love is going to filter down to your children, spouse, significant other, your relatives, your friends, and anybody you encounter, because when love is a part of your life, you can give love to others. So, welcome to the Sip and Chat this evening. I hope everybody's having an amazing Thursday so far. And me and my co host, Miss Nexie, we're going to be covering this topic tonight about family and building a strong foundation and having close bonds with your family. And this is something that is so important, building close family bonds. And most of the time, we don't have those things. There's a lot of disruption, there's a lot of dysfunction, there's a lot of brokenness when we talk about family units. And I don't know, I feel like it's a combination of so many things. It could be society, it's social media, it's people just being different or wanting to be apart. It's negativity. It could be toxicity. It's a combination of so many different factors as the reason why so many family members are not close to one another. And I do believe that it's years and years and generations of trauma and pain and dysfunction and lack of communication. There's so many things that has been happening for so many years, but it takes a few people within a family to say, no matter what has happened in the past, whatever happened with my auntie, my cousin, my parents. Now I'm going to make a choice with my family unit right now. It has to be one generation that has to say, I am going to break generational curses. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something better to improve my family. Whether that family is you and a spouse or significant other, or you and children, or you have a blended family, or whether it's just you and you healing and working on yourself so that you can be better for the rest of your relatives and the generations to come. Because if it does not start with somebody saying, this is dysfunctional, this is not good, we do not communicate like we should, we don't get together like we should, somebody has to open up their mouth and say, let's change something. Because if it's not working, somebody has to put in the work to improve it, to heal it. And that's where it starts. That's where it started for me. It took me saying to myself, I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be dysfunctional. I want to be better than my parents was, because I think in every generation it's supposed to improve. You learn things, you grow up, you mature, you find out certain things was just not good to begin with. It's never been good. But it's you making a choice to not continue that cycle of not talking about things, not doing the things that you need to do. Somebody has to put it out there. Somebody has to put it into action and do things to build that close bonds as a family. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes, just like it took all of these generations of brokenness and pain and dysfunction and trauma, it's going to take years to heal and to develop some close family bonds. Okay? So I just wanted to put that out there to everybody. It's going to take some years. It's going to mean you're going to have to put in the work. It takes all of that, but who is going to do it? Somebody has to do it. Is it going to take your children? Is it going to take you scarring your children, another generation? Or is it going to take another generation of siblings who aren't together? Okay, I see my co host, Miss Nexie. Let's welcome her to the Sip and Chat. Hello, Miss Nexie.
Hello, Miss Marlene.
How are you doing?
Good in yourself, rushing, as you can see.
Yes,
I thought
rushing.
I was so late. Hi, everyone.
Yes, welcome. Miss Nexie, what are you sipping on?
You're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be
Uh
way
oh.
too shocked. I'm not sipping on
Okay, I'm ready.
coffee. No coffee.
No way.
I
No.
told you I was gonna get no coffee. I'm just having plain old water. That's it.
Wow, Miss Nexie, you are an inspiration because that's what I'm sipping on tonight too.
Just water?
Just water, just plain old
Good.
H2O, no soda, no juice. I told you I'm on my health kick. I'm serious. Hmm.
Yes, we are.
Yes. Okay, Miss
Yes, we
Nexie.
are.
So
Talk to me.
let's get into today's topic. I don't know if you saw the topic here. Okay. We're talking about
Oh,
building close bonds and having family togetherness. Okay. I don't know if
mm-hmm.
that's a real word, togetherness, or I made it up. I don't know, but it sounded good
It
to
doesn't
me.
matter. It sounds good. It sounds good. You don't give it a second thought. It sounds beautiful, delicious. Yes, I'm hungry. Can you tell?
Yes, I can tell. So, so Miss Nexie, I was talking a little bit about this earlier before you popped on, and I was telling the loved ones that if you come from dysfunction, if you come from pain and toxicity, and there's been traumas, if you don't, if you're not careful, you can continue that cycle with your immediate family, not because you
Yeah,
want to, but because that's all you know.
yeah. You can repeat that. You can repeat the hurt, the harm, the. You can repeat the entire cycle if you don't take care of your mental health,
Exactly.
and that's a key word. Taking care of your mental health because yeah, it does. If we get SA or whatever, or brutally hurt by our loved ones, by spankings or yelling or trauma like that, everything affects our mental health. It's not that your body is going to get affected by it. It's your mental health, and that is what drives everything around you. So taking care of it by whatever way you can, making sure that you are healthy, that your mind is healing, can heal everything else. That's my 2 little cents
Yes,
and my journey.
yes, Miss Nexie, I agree with that because, we've talked about this many times and we're very open and transparent about coming from dysfunction and, you know, abuse when we talk about abuse as in physically, with spankings, as people call it, but when it's more than that, when it's where you're terrified for your life, or if it's people being together but there's not talking, they're screaming and yelling, and it's as you get older, if you don't know how to fix that, you will then repeat that cycle again. If it's not you having children, but you'll repeat that by keeping that inside and harboring resentment and being an angry adult, which is not good.
Yeah, exactly. The worst thing you can do, I think, as someone that has, like you and I have experienced, a certain amount of trauma. I think that the worst thing you can do is repeat that with your children, to repeat that, because you have nieces and nephews, but they don't live with you. You have your children who do, and on a daily. So if you don't overcome that, again, whatever way works for you, just do it. It's either by reading, educating yourself on what happened to you, taking classes on whatever works for you. Heal it, because that is the worst thing you can do. I grew up, fortunately and unfortunately at the same time. I grew up without a mom, but I grew up in a loving home with my siblings and my dad. Yeah, it was a little, we're poor, right? We had nothing, but there was no violence. There was no um, anything that could affect me. I'm lucky in that respect. But there were other things that happened to me that were beyond the control of, the people that loved me. So had I not taken care of my mental health, I probably would have been, knowing me, someone over protecting my children, overdoing things, and probably traumatizing them in the process, because I probably would have created children that were afraid of everything, that will not ever experience life, because I will be keeping them close to my vest. So for me, it was important as I got older and I started seeing how the trauma from what happened to me from the age of 5 to the age of 10 years old, 12 years old, um, that was affecting me as a grown up. The funny thing is, Marlene, and I don't know if this happened to you, but when I was younger, it didn't really affect me, or it didn't come to the surface, I should say. It didn't surface. Like, I started dealing or feeling what had happened to me in my adult years.
Mm.
I don't
Wow.
know if it was the same for you, but
No,
it was that for me. I started feeling. I'm sorry. What was that, Miss Marty?
no. I was just listening to what you were saying, Miss Nexie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. And I mean adult years, meaning in my 20s, right? As you become an adult, as more responsibilities fall on your shoulders, as more things come to to your circle, you start hearing other people, and then all the things that I have kept very secret, in my person, very secretive from everybody else. Like, I will never say anything to anyone. Everything was inside of my head and inside of me. All that started coming out, and I started getting more images, and I started getting more this anxiety attacks, and I started, there's probably that was the first time that I had them, and I had to start, by the grace of God. I was taking classes in college at that point, and therapy was required for us because of the degree I was going for, psychology, and I had to take therapy for myself, kind of like to learn the ropes, and it was required, and by the grace of God I did, and that helped me get myself together and work on my mental health. Had not that happened to me, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Hmm. Yeah. And Miss Nexie, I had something similar but different. See, mine was I had a home where I had both parents in my home, but it was where from the old school they were there, but it was not an environment where there was communication. It was just like do as I say. It was,
Mm,
I wouldn't say it was a dictatorship, but it was like I
disconnected.
yeah, it was disconnected. I didn't grow up with that closeness bonds and the hugs and the kisses. It was an environment where You had a place to live, you had food to eat. I wasn't neglected in that way, but I felt like I was emotionally disconnected
You are
from my own.
non-existent
Yeah.
in your existence.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, a lot of children from parents that are, that were born in the 30s and 40s, I think that a lot of those children have felt the exact same way that you have felt, and that at one point I felt myself when I came here and started living with that person that um, that they don't have that connection with their children. It's like the children are to be seen, not to be heard, which is something that I have never understood, because the first thing I didn't see my kids, I heard them running through the house from school, when they got up in the morning, the ruckus. So how can you have children to just be seen but not be heard? Like, I never understood that saying. And then as I got older, I said, oh, okay, so you want quiet, no peeps, no nothing, just a robot. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and no questions asked, no communication, no, love, no connection, nothing like that. You just want the kids that you had so they can take care of you when you get older, right?
Yes, that is exactly how it felt when I was
A
growing up.
mouthful.
Yeah, it felt like I was in a bubble, like I was trapped, and I felt like my parents, they were doing the best that they could to protect me from the world, and I think that they wanted to protect me from the things that they saw and the things that they went through, but in the process it it caused me to never get to live life because I couldn't do anything. They were like, oh, no, you can't do. Everything was no. Everything is don't question. Everything was, and that's not good because it took me a long time, well past my early adulthood, for me to finally say, I can try something new. You
Mm-hmm.
have to get yourself out of that mindset, even though you're an adult, to like, I don't have to be dysfunctional. I need to communicate. I shouldn't shut down. I deserve to have friends. I can have fun, you know. But all of
Mm-hmm.
that, it affects you for many, many years when you come from any dysfunctional habits or behaviors and attitudes. You take it on in you unknowingly, and it's like you almost have to go inside of yourself and push up all of that to the surface, face it, handle it, and then give yourself a new set of behaviors and attitude. And it's like almost a separation. I would say,
Yeah.
like, that was the old you and now you're a new you. That's
Yeah.
how I feel. That's how it
and
was.
and Miss Marlene, in the process, you get that from time to time those fears come back. Am I overdoing it? Maybe I shouldn't go out this weekend. Like, but like, maybe is it gonna look bad? Is someone gonna notice that I'm overdoing it because I haven't done this before? And so you start second guessing your decisions. For me, again, I lived in a family, like I said, it's just my dad, with us. My sister, two of my sisters were married, so I was the youngest. I was the only one at home, and some of my brothers. But the thing with us is my dad was always at no, right? My brothers too at no. But my dad will go to well, you don't want people to, because you live in small towns, people talk about you, boys get the wrong ideas about you, especially, in my country. So my dad will always say that, be careful because, what you do is going to reflect on you later on. And he never said, your marriage, prospects or anything like that. But I think that what he was trying to say is don't go there, because if you start, diverting too much and or going out partying too much or doing things too much, people are going to start saying you're not a good girl, kind of. I
Right.
think the message. But he will explain, you don't want to look at so and so. Look how people talk about her. But she's not like that. Yes, I get that, he will say, but that's not what people say. And those things would get in my mind and said, oh, okay, I get what he's saying. But I grew up in an era too that, how my friends are going to go? Yeah, no, you're not going. But why? Everybody's going. Yeah, but you're not everybody. I don't know if you ever, if you were ever told that, Miss Marlene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're not everybody. So don't
Oh,
worry
oh,
about that.
Miss Nexie, what I used to get is you're not them, you're you. I was like,
Yeah.
what? What does that? I was like, what does that mean? You're not them, you're you. I was like, but who am I? I was like, I just want to have fun, and I think I think the reason why I went so like left field and wild and like completely went crazy partying and having fun and becoming completely irresponsible for a period of time, because I think when you have been trapped, almost like you can do nothing, you're just like a
Yes.
spring. And then it's like, instead of slowly release it when you get to
Yep.
be an adult, and then, yeah, you're fine. I mean, when I got to be 18, it was like, boing, I'm free.
And Miss Marlene, I was the opposite. I was the person that I didn't have an actual, drink of alcohol, like go out and have drinks until I got married, because the fear of what if I drink and I lose my mind or whatever. What if I like it too much? Or what if something happens to me because I'm drinking? So everything was, I started having a drink here and there. Like I don't drink that much, but I was enjoying a drink here and there, but always in the company of my husband. Or if as I got older, if my sisters was gonna have, a beer or whatever, well, I have it with my sisters. It was never been alone. I'm always fearful of that. And
Yeah,
again, it's
but
because of, all the things that they put in your head, and it's hard to get out of that.
yes, Miss Nexie, even till today, I'm still dealing with that. Like telling myself it's okay, go for a walk, because in my head it's like, oh no, it's getting dark, and what if somebody comes out of, I still have
Yeah.
those things in my head, and I'm like, no, stop it. You
Yes,
can't go for a
exactly.
walk. You can't go
Because
on a trip by yourself.
yeah,
You
because they
can't.
put those things. Yes. Oh, I'm doing that now, Miss Marlene. I'm taking trips on my by myself on my own at my 30 years old. At my 30 years old of age.
Yes. You're
You
so
can take that.
young though. You got
I'm so young. Yeah, and I have a 30 and I have a 36-year-old daughter, but never mind her. I'm 30. So at this early age of mine, I'm taking trips on my own. Imagine how long it has taken me for me to actually do that on my own. I
Mhm.
was always fearful because we always had the buddy system, right? No, you're
Yes.
not gonna go. If your sister goes with you, then you can go. Or your sister will say, "Can I go somewhere?" You have to take your little sister with you, or your little brother, or whatever it was. Like you could never
Mhm.
go alone. So
Yep.
all those fears, they're placed on you so deep that even as you get older, you always have that fear. What if now I have, I don't know, Miss Marlene, but I used to have this fear too, and I think you kind of told me in a certain way that you also did too. That fear of eating alone,
Mhm.
right? The fear. I think we discussed this before. I always felt like, what will people say? I'm eating alone. Like I'm lonely. I have no one.
Yes.
Like this weird sensation. I think you mentioned it before too. And it didn't hit me, but I always wanted people to eat around me, with me. Let's do something. Oh no, okay then. No, we'll do it next time. And it didn't occur to me that that is probably why
Mhm.
I had that fear of eating alone. And now I'm doing it.
Yep.
I have
I
traveled on my own. I have eaten on my
Yes.
own. And it feels so good.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm finally a grown up. Like I remember the first time, Miss Nexie, I went to the movies by myself, and girl, I was so scared. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, all you have to do is just go up and buy a ticket. And I stood outside. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what are people gonna think? What are people gonna think?
Yeah, that I'm all alone, that I have no one.
I was like, people are gonna say you don't even have a friend to go to the movies, and I was like, forget it. I'm just gonna buy it. And when I went, I was like, nobody said, "Oh, are you by yourself?" Nobody was watching me. I was like, so
Yeah,
wonderful.
nobody looked at you weird. Nobody like, did a double take because there were so many people in there alone,
That's what
and
I'm
you
saying.
start
I was like,
seeing.
the funny part, Miss Nexie, is when you go out and you're by yourself, if you pay attention, you'll see there's so many people who are in the same position
Yes.
as you.
As I'm riding on the train for the first time to the place that I wanted to go to, as I'm riding, I'm thinking, I'm petrified at this point because I'm all alone. No one waiting for me on the other side. Because you see, I have traveled. Let's say I have gone back home by myself, but somebody takes me to the airport. I only travel the airplane ride, and then somebody's waiting for me on the other side to pick me up, right? So the only travel alone time is between the airplane and the places that I have to go from. There's always somebody there for me. This time I didn't. I went completely alone. Nobody waiting for me, nobody taking me anywhere. I took myself there to the station. I took the train, arrived at the other side by myself, started exploring, went to eat, did a little shopping, a little sightseeing, and got back on the train and came back home.
Wow, look at you. You're all grown up.
I'm grown up. That's why I'm 30 now. I'm in my
We are
30s
acknowledging
now.
some people in the chat. We have Realist One
Hey,
here
realist.
and Serious. Hey
Oh, hi,
guys.
serious. But that again, the I think the worst thing you can do, because even though, Miss Marlene, I had my fears, I had my reservations on certain things, I try not to pass those along to my children,
Mm-hmm.
even though I wanted to stop them from growing up. I wanted to hover over them and just keep them there, just protect them from the world that they were about to walk out on. This cold, cold, cold world, as you said.
Yes.
And
But
I
you
wanted
know,
to protect them, but I didn't do it. I allowed them to grow up in a home where, yes, they had two parents. They had two parents that they could come to. They have two parents that they had to get permission to go somewhere because they were minors, right?
mm-hmm.
So they had to, two parents that were, and we said since the very beginning, no matter what, we're going to make decisions together. We're not going to go, well, your mom said no, but I'm going to say yes, go on. We're never going to do that. It's going to be, a mutual thing, so the kids get used to that. Hey, I don't have to go to mom or dad. I have to go to both. But even though they came from a family like that, I always wanted them to go out to lunch with friends. I always wanted them to hang out with friends. The problem was that, our house had a pool. So their friends were always here. I
Yes.
couldn't get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get rid of them. And when they went
I had a
somewhere,
friend like that. I had a friend like that, and it was like, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm going." I was like, "Bye, I'm going to my friend's house," and they're like, "Oh, why do you
yeah,
speak
see ya.
bathing suit? Mind your business."
No, no. I just had, like, those drive-throughs when you go and there's a car after another after another. That's how I had here at the house summer vacation. One car after the other after the other, dropping off kids.
Oh, Miss Nexie, you're gonna think this is hilarious. You ready?
Yes.
My mom, she used to work 3 to 11 shift. And
Hmm.
the father that I had, my father was very calm, very open. Just about everything you asked my dad, he would say yes to because he didn't care.
Hmm.
So it was always one of us saying, "Can we have a sleepover?" Because we weren't allowed to go to a sleepover, but we could have our friends to come over. So what it
Hmm.
was, I remember one time it was like my mom came home and it was like all of us had a friend over. And she would go to from room to room, be like, "What? This isn't my kid. This isn't my kid. This isn't my kid." And my mom like screamed, "Where are my kids?"
Your dad is like, oh, I sent them to somebody else's home. These are actually nice kids. That ones, they're gone, babe. They're
I and I think that that was one of the mornings that there was like 20 kids in the house.
oh no, no, yeah. The thing is that the parents. Oh yeah, they had their towels, their bathing suits. Their some of them had sunblock, some of them didn't, but we always had those here. The thing they didn't bring was food.
Yeah, my mom used to say, "Oh, I know most of y'all are here because okay, come on, give me the laundry because there would be those friends that their parents wouldn't have it. Say, come on, give me the clothes, give me this. Who needs a lunch for school?" So it was like,
No, yeah. So every day, like on the weekends, during the weekdays, Monday through Thursdays, the house was sort of nice and quiet. Summertime, right? Summer break. But from Friday on, it was a madhouse. But it didn't give me, it gave me the opportunity to say, oh, I wanted them to go out, but since we have the pool, they don't have to. So I'm okay with that. At least their friends are over and they're having fun. The, the problem with that is, like, we didn't allow them to have sleepovers somebody else's house. I didn't. I never felt comfortable because of what happened to me. So I was never
Mhm.
comfortable with allowing my children to go. So my I think my second daughter, she's the one that had her first sleepover when she was 16. I think she's the only one that has gone on a sleepover. And she was calling me the whole time. And that was her first and last sleepover. Like, she never did it again. So I always question, like, maybe I should have allowed them to, do that so that they would have had that experience. But then friends were always here. So they always had sleepovers. But still, I always tell myself, I'm glad that I didn't pass some of my fears on my children. But at the same time, Miss Marlene, a lot of my fears prevented them probably from enjoying life the way that other kids have, the privilege to.
Yeah, I used to when I was younger because, I had good parents, but at the same time, I used to be like, you guys could be so much better if you would like listen to what I'm talking about. I had the sort of parents that thought we didn't know anything because we
Mm-hmm.
were young. And
Mm.
and they lost out on so much by there's a lot of things that you can learn from your children. It doesn't have to have anything to do with age. Kids can give you good advice, kids can do a
Yes.
lot of things, and
Mm-hmm.
they really missed out on a lot of things. And the worst part, I think, that causes families to not be close to one another, it's that everybody is just in their own world.
Yep.
That's what I came from. Everybody's in their own world. And I feel like to develop a close bond, you kind of have to be like, knock on everybody's door. Hey, because I came from the generation, we didn't have cell phones yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was, you had to go knock on the door. Hey, you want to hang out? Let's
Mm-hmm.
play a board game. Let's play some cards. Let's go outside. Let's do an activity. It's like you have to make quality time. You have to make, do something to where everybody gets together. And that's just more difficult these days because people have different schedules and all types of things. But I mean, back in the day, that's what used to work for me and my siblings. It was like, okay, Friday, nobody's going to do anything. We're going to hang out at home and just, spend time with each other, talk and laugh and watch a movie, but do
Mm-hmm.
something. You have to put some work into building relationships. And I think that a lot of families forget that every single person is an individual. You're not just
Mm-hmm.
my brother, you're yourself, and you have to learn to get to know each person.
And again, we didn't have cell phones. We played a lot outside, Miss Berlin, as we were growing up. We just waited for the hey, so and so, dinner's ready, hurry up, or mom's gonna be mad, or dad's gonna be mad, whatever. And so we didn't really have a relationship or where we could, you know, um, kind of like bond in a real sense, right? We didn't have, let's say, a game that we played in the family to bond together, or we didn't have like the Saturday movie that we wanted to watch all of us together, because at least me growing up, my siblings were a lot older than me. So normally it was just me and my dad, watching movies, doing everything, because my siblings were already teenagers or, late teens. They were out, my sisters will say, "Oh, dad, we have, like a tea party today. We're going to go to so and so's house." And my older sister was already married, so she will come get my, you know, second sister, and they will go. But I was so much younger than them that I couldn't go with them, right? But they still will bring me things from the party. So it was just me and my dad. My brothers will be out and about. So we didn't have the bonding time, but the one thing we did have was church on Sundays. To that, we always went together, no matter what. Everybody will get up in the morning, get ready, and we all go and talk on our way over there because we walked, talk on our way back because, you have to walk, there's no cars. And
Hmm.
that was the only thing. Now, with my kids, I did something different. Oh, I even had a bingo machine here. We play bingo.
Wow.
Yeah, I still have it. I looked at it the other day. I was like, oh my God, our bingo machine. Yeah, and I bought it, and we had Uno. We had all kinds of games to nurture the bonding, not so much with us, but between them. And, my kids are very close. They're very close to each other, and I love that, because even if they're not close to me right now, it's okay because they are very close to one another now
Yeah.
that they're married and becoming parents and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's so important for us to learn how to get close to one another. Because I'll tell you something, Miss Nexie. While we would do little small things like talk at dinner, but it needed work. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
even lie. It was just like you're only there long enough for everybody to scarf the food down their throat, and everybody was gone. It wasn't like, oh, a meaningful conversation. Hey, what'd you
Hmm.
do today? I have this going on. We didn't have that. But now with my now immediate family, we do that. We talk about things, how the day was, the things that are going on in their life, something special that's coming up. You have to talk about certain things. And I think in families, people forget that people have real issues and things going on. And it's important to talk about those issues, but it's kind of hard to talk about those issues if you don't have your own personal relationship with each person, or it doesn't feel like a safe environment. And I think that's the first issue that needs to be addressed when we talk about families, making sure it's a safe space that you feel safe, you can communicate without being made fun of, or talked down to, or something like that. That has to be there.
And again, it's what we were saying. I'm sorry about that, Miss Marlene. I had a little scratcher here, but never mind that. But again, you can have dinner with someone or lunch with a table full of, your siblings, your parents. But if people are not asking the right questions, then it's more of just a regular dinner. The one rule, because my children were born, in the 80s and 90s. So cell phones were becoming popular at that point as they're growing up. So the rule that I had, the minute those cell phones became available, was here's the box. The minute you get home, and you can text your friend, whatever, say the last goodbye, and then We're having dinner together. Those phones are going to be in the box. You can pick it up afterwards, but we're talking about our day and, what's going on. Of course, it wasn't every day because I think 2 days out of the week I couldn't have dinner with them because I was at work and I had, homework and stuff like that. But I will make it my mission to make sure that the days that I was there, I asked for help on the cooking. I asked for help on setting the table. I asked for help on, probably what kind of dessert you want, and then having someone prep it for us. And then as soon as we're done with dinner, I, and to this day, my kids are big readers because I always make sure that as soon as we were done, pick up the table, the plates, and everything, and then we will sit down for a half an hour to read a book. And they always have brand new books. I'm almost finished with my book. Okay, let me get the next one from that series because my kids like all those anime things. So I always had books for them, and we'll sit down to read for a half an hour, and then everybody can go back to their devices if that's what they wanted, or get ready for the next day. So that
Mhm.
was something, and we will talk about the day. We'll talk about everything that was going on, and that's something that they still to this day have, embedded in their memory. When my daughter and I go out to dinner or to lunch or whatever, we're not on our phones. We're talking. We see people all around us on their phones, silent, eating silently with their partner in front or whatever they are in front of them, and nobody's talking. And we can't stop talking.
Mhm. But but that's something that you have to learn, and it has to be something that you have to develop. I wanted to acknowledge Nate and Robert,
Hey,
and
Nate.
welcome, guys.
Hi, Robert.
Um, I wanted to say this. A comment was put in here by realists that especially Black folks don't talk too much about those things. I will agree with that, but I will also add in that too, most minorities.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it's
Yep,
I
realist.
think it's a minority
It's
thing.
a minority thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because back home too, the parents are, they come home, or the mom stays home all day with the kids. The dad comes home. They did some. I remember some of my friends, Miss Marlene, that the father would eat first, not with the children around. The children were nowhere to be seen. Then the mom will call the kids, and they will come eat with the
Hmm.
mom or without the mom. And my husband, he grew up in that fashion where the dad had to eat before the kids because he didn't want anyone annoying him while he ate.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah. So and he even told me one day, he says, I think I had probably 4 or 5 conversations with my father my entire life. Like he never really talked to the kids. He says he doesn't remember
You,
any
you,
meaningful conversations. So weird.
you know, you know what, Miss Nexie? Now that I'm thinking about it, growing up in a big family, we had separation. There was a kids table and there was an adults table. So
Oh,
I never sat with my parents or the people who are older because I'm the last one. I was always sitting at the table with my brother who was in front of me, my middle sister that you guys will see on vlogs, and then my special needs sister. We were always at the same table all the time, and then the older ones got to sit at the adult table, and you had to be
oh,
at least a certain age to sit there. So my whole life it was always just those are the ones that and till this day those are the three people I'm still the most closest to because we were always together our whole lives, and it was like they were who knows what they were talking about. We have no idea because we weren't included in that conversation. We talked amongst ourselves, they talked amongst themselves, and that was it. And I think that that's not a good thing. I
no,
don't
it's
think that
not.
was a good
It's not.
thing. Mm-mm. But
No,
I
it's
think
not because
it's,
it creates that division. Sorry,
but you
Miss
know what, Miss
Marlene.
Nixie? Oh, it's okay. I think but it's something that my parents brought from their country. That's just how it was, and how you were talking about how your husband was saying, the father ate by himself in my family's culture, the younger kids eat together, the adults eat together, and that's just the way it is.
Mm.
And I remember one day I was like, I need two tables, and everybody's like, why? I was like, because that's how it was. They're like, no, everybody can sit at one table. And I was like, one table?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, this is different.
Well, yeah, no, in my family, we all sat at the table. I remember, all of us in the same table eating and going on to what did you do today? Oh, we went there. My dad will ask. So where were you at? I was looking for you earlier to my brothers. Oh, I went to do this and I did this job and they pay me for this. Oh, here's the money, Dad. I got some. I'm gonna keep two and I'm gonna give you three. Kind of like that. And then my sisters, will go on with, oh yeah, we went to the market, and I will be like, yeah, and they bought me this and they bought me that. And so we were always eating together. When my husband said to me, oh no, we never ate with my dad. And I'll be like, why? Because my thing was, I always ate with my father.
Nope, I
So
didn't.
I said to him, oh, no, Miss Marlene, but I said to him, yeah, but that was you. Our children are going to eat with us. Don't expect for me
Mhm.
to feed you, the king of the house, which you're not, first, and then my children. I said, no, I'll probably feed them first and feed you last. That's how
Right.
this is going to go here.
No, and something that also that is very dysfunctional sometimes in families that I don't like is that the wife or the mother or whoever is the cook is always serving everybody. And I never liked that growing up. I was like, why can't we let mom sit down
Hmm.
and serve her and her eat, because it was always the
Uh-huh.
I would never see. I don't ever remember growing up and seeing my mom sit at a table and eating my whole life.
She was always serving.
Never. She served, and it was like
Wow.
my dad and the older kids and then us. And my mom was always busy bringing drinks and plates and napkins and back and forth, and then washing dishes, and everybody was gone.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because I've seen that. But my sister, she always makes sure that we helped around so that we could all sit at the table. She was the one that brought that into our family. She will sit us, make us help, and then we all sit down. And if anybody didn't get a drink, then you'll get up and get your drink, right? But normally she will put everything in the middle of the table and we will get it for each. Like she wasn't serving us. She will put the meat on one container, the rice on another, and then we'll serve ourselves. Even if it was a mess at the end, it didn't matter because we were all, cooperating. And I think that that brought a lot of closeness to the family because to this day, I'm very, very close to my sisters. Very, very close. I'm close to my brothers, but I think it's because I can relate more to my sisters, right? Because we're all moms, we're going through the same thing with our kiddos. I feel that I probably are closer to them, but I love my brothers very much. It's not like I don't,
Yeah.
I do. But I'm closer to my sister. Our bond is a lot stronger than, it is with my brothers, I guess. But
Hmm.
again, it was the fact that we ate together all the time. It was the fact that, we went through our weird years together. And my dad was always preaching closeness between us, always telling us that, after he was gone, we were supposed to stick together as siblings because after he was gone, we were going to be the ones needing each other. So he was always, always trying to make it, fun and I guess drama free as much as he could around the house so that we can get closer. Because if you look at what the world is right now, Miss Marlene, it's so weird. It's so weird. I look at people, the way they're bringing up the kids, and the way that the families are not even close. I've seen so many of my kids' friends, building their families, and they don't even take the parents into consideration, and they're doing their own thing. hardly ever visit the parents, hardly ever involve the parents in their lives, and it's so weird how cold it has
Yeah.
gotten.
Yeah, and I've always said that that bothers me in the majority of families that I see. It's like when people get older and they can't do like they used to, it saddens me that in the United States, probably lots of other places by now, but many people put their family away in nursing homes. That's always
Y-
saddened me from I was a young child to
Yeah.
like what wait a minute, it's like grandma or your mother when they get now that they're older, you're too busy to take care of your mom. I don't know, I think it's the Caribbean in me. I
Y-
just
Well,
I can't do
n-
it.
yeah, no, me neither. Like my mother-in-law, I told you before, she lived with us for 15 years. When she got sick, the doctor said, you know what, she's got to go to hospice care, and we have a great facility. And my husband and I said, no, we take care of her until the day she leaves this world. Nobody else is going to do it for us. Well, we don't know. It can last, a few months. It can last up to a year. Who cares? She's given us her entire life to me and our children. So why wouldn't I take care of her? So we brought her home and we took over her care. There was a nurse that will come, a hospice nurse, because she got stomach cancer. And she will help us with sometimes the bathing and the medications, kind of to put them in order and stuff like that. Then that was it. When my dad too got sick, the first thing I did is I'm not going to work for the next few months. I don't know how many, but I'll let you know as I go on with it. And my dad went from September till March, the end of March, with his, cancer too. He had pancreatic cancer. I was the one taking care of him. I was not going to allow anyone to put him in a facility.
Mhm.
My dad at home before he passed away, I couldn't be with him. I was with my dad to here, which my dad said, hey, I'm happy that you're there taking care of him, because my dad had so many people taking care of him at home too. Nobody's going to put anyone in our family in a home. Nobody.
Nope, nope, nope.
We
I
swore
I
when we
told
were younger.
I told you, Miss Nexie, I was out of the country. I got this great job, and right when I got there, I found out that my dad had cancer, and I was
Oh,
like,
no.
oh well, time to
Bye.
go.
See you all. Thanks for the
I was
month.
like, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I'm out of here. And my dad was like, no,
Exactly.
no, no, you have a good job. I was like,
Don't
whatever.
care.
I'll
Can get
screw up a
another good
little
one.
bit.
Yep. Exactly. That's that same thing I did with my dad too. I said, you know what? Because my mom called and said, hey, dad just got diagnosed with this. And I said, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 2 days. They only live like 3 hours away from me, but I had to leave things in order at work and here at home. And then I said to my husband, you see this little one right here, our son? Yeah, he's yours now. I gotta go. You're a single father now. Here, bye. And
Yep.
I took off because my job was to return to him a little bit of what he has given to us. And I
Hmm.
was the only one that, was, I guess, willing to leave everything behind to go take care of him, because that's who I am. I'm not someone that does things halfway. I have to do it all the way or nothing at all. So
No,
I
Miss.
said, okay, this is it. I'm going to do it. And then I will take him to his appointments, radiation, chemo. I was with him every hour of the day. I will only come home like for 1 day just to make sure that the fridge was filled up, that the kids were still breathing. And then I
Hmm.
will go back. If they're breathing with little movement, okay, they're fine. Let's go. I'm just
Yep.
kidding. No.
Miss Nexie, I know what you're talking about, and it's so interesting how at the we were going through something that was so similar, and we didn't know each other, and we were doing the same things.
Ex- exactly. But the thing that it bothered me the most, and I'm gonna say it out here because, and I don't want to offend anyone. But what bothered me the most is that he did so much for all of us, and it was only a handful of us available to care for him because everybody else was busy. Same happened
Miss
to my
Nick,
mother-in-law. Same
Miss
thing.
Nexie, you know how I feel about that. You know how I feel
Ex-
about that.
yes,
I
ma'am.
have
I
a
do.
it's one of my like I will blow my top. I don't play games with that. It's like that's your mother, your father, whoever it is. Even if I don't get along with somebody and they're my relative, I'm going to drop everything. I was like,
Hmm.
oh well. I was like, oh well. I was like, I had a job, not anymore. Gotta go.
Exactly. And I hate when people do things like this halfway. Or, well, I got pets to take care of, or I got thrown in my face when I was going through this. Well, I have my dogs and a husband to take care of, so I cannot really be here with this person 24/7. And I'm looking at this person, and I swear to God, if my husband would not grab my hand, I probably would have beat the living crap out of this person. And I said, well, I have a son who's special needs. I have other three kids that are younger too. I have a husband. I have everything, but I still have time. Make time for her. I was working full time, going to school full time, and I was still taking care of this person. So for you to say I have my dogs to take care of and a husband, that's the, I cannot say the word here on YouTube because we're probably gonna
Mhm.
be,
Oh,
but you can
Miss
imagine.
Nexie. Oh, Miss Nexie, you have to use the word that me and Gio we made up a word for YouTube.
Okay.
The way you can't say profanity, you say cuss vanity. Cuss vanity, cuss
Oh,
vanity,
okay.
cuss
Cause
vanity.
vanity, cause vanity, cause vanity, cause vanity, and there's a lot of that. But I cannot go on forever with it's a limited hour, like a limited time show. But I went off on this person, and to this day, Miss Marlene, it's been 14 years since the passing of this person. Not one time have I spoken to this relative of mine, and this person is very close to me. Not once,
Mm.
because it's not that I have. I don't want to say I hold grudges, but I do hold grudges. No, it's not that. It's I have this resentment in me because of what this person did, because you don't say that to a dying person. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? If you didn't know this person was dying and was just sick, I get it. You can say, I can't right now because blah, blah, blah. But if you know this person is on their last days of life or months of life, and you're going to say, I can't because I got more important things than you, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. You're not someone I want in my life. So they have sent me friendship requests through Facebook and other media things I don't accept. Sends me hellos with certain people. I do not want to hear it. I don't accept them, and I tell them I don't accept them, and please tell her to stop this. So to this day, I haven't spoken to that person because I feel that when you allow people like that in your life that are so hard-hearted, that are not for humanity, that are not human, because that I don't even think that's human, but that are like this, you are allowing something that you don't subscribe to in your household. And I didn't want my kids to see that part of, that side of life. I wanted them to learn that when somebody in your family is sick, you take care of them, pretty much.
Yep, Miss Nexian, I went through something similar. Somebody told me, "Oh, you can leave your job because you don't have responsibilities like I do." I
You
was
don't
like,
have young
"Oh,
children. I've been told
Miss."
that. Well, you don't have young children.
Miss Nexie, they said it was because I didn't have responsibilities like they did.
Oh, so you live for free
Mhm.
in this country? Your food,
Yeah.
you get it for free, Miss Marlene?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you're
I
rent
was like,
free?
and I told that to my dad, and we had a good chuckle. I was like, "Oh, Dad, I didn't have no. Oh, I was here in the country. Oh, they didn't even know I was out of the country. I wasn't even in the
Oh my
United States.
God.
I was
No,
like,
I like that.
hmm. I was like,
No,
hmm.
I like when they say, well, you don't have young kids anymore, so for you it's easy. You
Oh,
don't
it's
have the
easy for you.
responsibilities we do. And I said, oh, really? Oh, okay. So you think I'm mortgage free? Is that what you're thinking? That I eat from the air? I just inhale and I'm full? You think that the electricity, I produce it when I get upset? Is that what you think?
Oh, Miss
Because
Nexie,
it doesn't.
all your bills are prepaid. You just have to go outside and pick some money off the trees. That's what they're
Yeah,
gonna
there you go. That's it. And so I said, um, when if you want to make excuses for things like this, then you shouldn't be doing this. So yeah, you're right. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be helping. You shouldn't be taking care of because you have so many more responsibilities than I have. So you're right. Your excuse,
Yeah,
pretty
but
much.
Miss Nexie, in this topic of talking about building close family bonds, you have to find out what's important to you. And unfortunately, there are going to be some relatives that don't believe in being close. They don't want to be close to you. They want to be drama filled and toxic and negative and controlling
Mm-hmm.
and jealous. So you have to leave those people alone. I'm talking about you're going to have your set of relatives that you can talk to about things, people you can trust, and you're not going to hear all your business in the streets. Those are the people you develop your own personal relationships and you talk to them. And I remember saying that to my siblings after my mom had passed away. We had never had like a true closeness. I called them one day and they're like, "What's wrong?" And I was like,
Mm,
"Nothing." And I was like, and that's a bad thing, Miss Nexie, because we only called
yes.
each other when we needed something. And I
There
said,
you go.
I want to start something new. I'm just calling to say hey. And they're like,
Mm.
what? And I was like, yeah. I said, that's what normal people do. We call to say, how are you doing? How was your day? And in the beginning, it was kind of strange for them, but then they got on board. And guess what, Miss Nexie? Then they start getting an attitude. You didn't
Well,
call
you
me
don't call.
yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I waited for your call. You didn't call. What happened? Are you sick or something? Oh no, I was just watching a movie. So the movie was more important than me. You didn't even
Mm-hmm.
text. You didn't even say anything. But those are the people that you want to have around because they worry when you don't text or you don't call or they don't hear from you. I made that decision when my children were brought into this world. I made sure that the people they had around were positive people. And I don't mean they had to have PhDs and all these careers. I meant they were good people that they were going to be able to learn something from. I try to keep them away from a lot of, my family, the drama side of the family. And that included, one of the grandmas because it's too much. It was too much for me growing up, and I can imagine how it was going to be for them. So I try to minimize contact with that person for their own good. And they know her, and as adults, once in a while they go visit, but I try not to mix her too much into their growing up years, their developing years, because I didn't want them to pick up on that negativity. And there's other uncles and that I had around that I said no. My kids are going to be different. They're going to be raised in a different way, and thank God, it worked. I'm not saying we're drama free. There's no drama, there's no trouble. Of course there is. As a family, we have to have drama from time to time. We are gonna be sometimes upset at each other, but the same way we get upset at each other, we talk to each other the next time like if nothing happened, which is, you know what I mean? Like as long as you don't disrespect that person, even if you're upset, but you don't disrespect, that on itself is a plus because you can go back to like if nothing happened and then clear things up. So, I had to do that for their own mental health because I didn't want it to get corrupted when they were younger.
Yeah,
And I got a
exactly.
lot of criticism, Miss Marlene, for this. Oh my gosh, she thinks she's so much better than everybody else because of what she's doing. But you see my kids now, and my one of my sister's kids, they're totally different than the rest because we both did that.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. I wanted to add to that what you were saying. We made a decision after our parents were gone that we were going to stop doing things that we didn't want to do. And that's something that I feel like develops like people not having an attitude. If you don't want to be there, don't be there.
Yeah.
Learning to show up with honesty, because like you ever like people will have a party or something and somebody's in the corner like
Yes.
looking at the wall, or people will be there and snapping at people or have an attitude. I It's just, we have this thing like, I'll catch you guys the next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
and
feel like it today.
we don't get upset, or just, I
Yeah.
just don't want to be there today, guys. I'm going through something. Okay, we'll see you next time. Is there something we can do for you?
Yeah.
That's how you develop a close family bond, because sometimes in families it gets to be like you have to be there, you have to show up,
Yeah.
or you're not good, or you don't love us, and that's toxic. You have your
Or,
moments when
or,
you don't want to be around
or
people.
Miss Marlene, your parents make you go. I'm sorry, I'm talking on top of you, but or your parents, you have to go because it's so and so's birthday. Yeah, but I don't want to. But you have to because they don't want to be criticized. They don't want to be like, oh my God, look, they didn't bring the other girl because that other girl gives them attitude or blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't want to be criticized. So they make you do things that you don't want to do. And instead of creating close bonds with your parents and your siblings and the rest of your family, it pushes you even further away from that closeness because you're resenting them for making you things you don't want to do, right? But it's only because they don't want to lose face in front of the rest of the family. So they can say that, oh, my kids listen to me, my kids do whatever I say. I'm telling you because I have seen it so much happen around, with other friends and stuff that the parents are always trying not to lose face when it comes to kids. And it's
Hmm.
weird that way.
Yeah,
It's very weird.
it's so weird, Miss Nexie, and I agree with Robert. He says maybe I just don't want to be bothered with nonsense. Sometimes the things that is
Exactly.
going on, you just like, sometimes it's not anything personal, but some within relatives, you do have people whose attitude you don't care for, or they
Mm-hmm.
always have something slick to say, something um
Mm-hmm.
an insecurity that they're always spewing. It's just like, I can't deal with certain individuals, and if you go there and they say something, you're going to pop off. So I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like respect has to be there within your family unit, and it's a space that you have to create. I can't speak for everybody, I'm just speaking for myself and my family. We had to create that space because that foundation was never there. It was one of those things that whether you
Mm-hmm.
want to be there or not, you better show up, or you're going to be talked about, you'll be
Yeah.
laughed at, they'll say this, they'll say that, and whether you have the money, you got to go to this. There has to be more discussions like, okay, saying like in advance, I know this is coming up, but I'm struggling right now financially, so I can't go because of that. And sometimes that will clear a lot of
Mm-hmm.
space. You think that they don't want to be there, but it's because they don't have the money to pay to go to that sort of function. So when you have that, create that safe space for your family, and others are informed, okay, we know, okay, they're struggling. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take that, and between the five of us, we'll split the cost. So, would you feel comfortable coming because we'll pay for you? You have to have those sort of
Mm-hmm.
conversations and not just make it seem like, oh, because I can go or because I can afford to, you should be able to go and afford it.
Yeah, or be criticized because you're not. With
Hmm.
us, thank God our kids enjoy going to their cousins. So whenever we had birthday parties, whatever, our kids were always very happy until little guy showed up. So if he didn't want to go to a certain person's party, Miss Marlene, he will stay in the car, and I'm not going. So we would have to take turns going in to eat and say hi to everybody because Mr. Somebody was not getting off the car. Let's go. We're gonna go. No, I'm not going. I told you I'm not going. And this little 5-year-old butterball was not gonna go. And so, we started saying, okay, why am I coming here if he's not going to be comfortable? And I will tell
Mm-hmm.
people, I'm sorry, but with an autistic child, a special needs child, you go down to their world, to their level. They don't come to you. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
you go
You
to
have to go
theirs.
to theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So, he will say, I don't like it. I'm not going. And we'll be like, once we get there, he's going to be excited with the cousins. Oh, we learn quick, right? Quick.
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no. When he said no, it was no.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Miss Nexie, coming from that, having a special needs relative as well, I think sometimes I was like, am I special needs now? Because sometimes I'll be like, no, I don't want to go, but I don't want to go because I don't want to go. I think
or, or Miss Riley, when they don't let people in your house, nope, he's not coming in my house. Nope, I don't want him in my house. Nope, you're not. And
yep.
they keep on kicking people out. And I had to learn that through him. I learned a lot of, hey, you know what? If I don't want to, I don't have to. Why am I putting myself through this? I feel
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable when I go to this person's house. I feel anxious. I feel like, what time are we going home? Like, we're just going to show up for 2 hours. Why show up if you're going with that mentality? Instead, just phone and say, you know what? He doesn't want to go, so we cannot go. And
Oh,
then,
Miss Nexie, I have something better. I have something better. When something was happening, our said special needs family member, when they called and they were like, "Are you going to come sit?" And she was like, "No, we don't like you."
ah, my sister said we don't like you, so we're not coming. Oh, yeah, I know. No, my son gets the people, like if somebody comes over and he's not comfortable with that person, he grabs their coats if it's winter time and their purses, and they say, okay, bye, see you next
Mhm.
time, bye bye, see you next
Yeah.
time. And I
Yep.
tell people, I'm sorry, you have to go. Like, he will not leave you alone until you're out of this house.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
you can
I get
do.
the. Yeah, I get the.
But
And she. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't like you. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't like you. And it's not gonna end. You're gonna hear. I'm sorry. I don't like you until you leave.
And you know what? The funny thing is, I thought that by him being like that, I thought, my God, we're gonna lose so many friends, right? So many family members are gonna be upset because of his little things, the tantrums or quirks that he has. But it has the opposite effect. People will laugh and say, "Oh, is he okay? Does he want to come in today?" I said, "I think so." And then we'll go ask, "You want to come in?" No, not today. Or other days he'll say, "Here's Rico. Rico's home. Oh, yay! You came in." And it got us closer together because everybody else started coming down to, hey, you know what? It's not his fault. If he's not comfortable, he cannot lie to you like you and I can, right? He cannot pretend. He's going to tell you like it is. So we there's a group of people that have become so much closer to us because of this little one, and the people that were closer, that we thought were closer, have actually gone away from our family because of him. So it works out in different ways, but the bonds, they have to be maintained, Miss Marlene. They have to be
Yes.
maintained. They have to be through support and love and all the things, and talk, because I noticed that a lot of people are not talking. I don't
No.
hear communication. Like, there's no communication. Yeah, through text, sometimes through things like that, but there's no one-on-one talk or long talks, or you know what I mean? Like, I see it so often that it freaks me out.
Yeah,
It freaks me out.
it makes me so sad that you'll see families and people don't talk for years, or what's worse to me is people who talk to each other but they're always arguing and yelling. It's very toxic. And Miss Nexie, you know how I am. I'm a real
Hmm.
person. If I'm not getting along with you, I'm not going to talk to you
Yeah, we're
because
not.
I'm not going to do drama. I'm not going to do negativity. You're not going to put me down. I don't do that. Either I'm talking to you and think we're on good terms, or we don't talk at all. Because I'll ask them, like, when I go to something and they're there, I was like, "Are you're going to behave today?" And
Hmm.
people used to be like, "Oh, she always has to start something." I said, "No, I don't have to start something. I'm not going to be somewhere where they're going to act up and do something and then I feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to be here uncomfortable because of whatever they're doing. I don't do that, you know, and I won't put my family through that either."
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. There's so many ways that you can have good relationship with people. You know, I think that a lot of times because we had been thought since an early age that these are our blood relatives and we got to put up with them, right? Because they're family. I think that has been hard put on our mind so much that we don't know sometimes how to detach and say yes, they're family. And yes, there's a point where you have to kind of put up with certain things from family, but there's another side that it is the respect that your family should have for you, and the love, unconditional love that your family should have for you, that sometimes you find in certain family members this love, but it's always a conditional type of love. You do this for me, then I love you. If you don't do this for me, then I'm upset at you. So because we are embedded in our heads since early age that blood is the only family we can have, sometimes it's why we end up putting up with people that are so disrespectful, so negative, so not good for our mental health for so long because of fear of, but they're my family and what's going to happen if I don't have them in my life, right? Maybe I'm going to be punished in the afterlife for not having them there. So until we get the mental health treatment that we need, or we get our mental health in the right place, we say, hey, no, 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 this is my area, my space, my life, and I'm going to have who I want to, positive or whatever I want, in my life. And if you're not part of that group, then you're not in the group, family, blood or not. But until we get there, there's so many toxic families. I've seen these huge family reunions where people are arguing left and right. So and so is not talking to so and so. They're in the other corner of the park, and this other cousin is not talking to this one because she said about that one. And it's then why throw these huge family reunions if nobody's a family at that point? So weird.
Hmm. Yeah, Miss Nexie, I've seen it. I've seen it like almost every year. There's like parties. It's always something around the holiday time, and it's like an all out brawl, like literally duking it out over whatever. Somebody says something and one pops off at the other, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And I think that there was something that we enacted in our family, that if somebody is acting in a manner that is unsafe, disrespectful, everybody is like, we all band together. You need to leave. What do you mean? No, we're
Hmm.
not going to tolerate. And it teaches them that when you come around us, you're going to behave yourself. You're going to be kind. You will greet others. You won't put people down. You won't, you don't bring that here. We don't want it. So it teaches certain individuals, and I don't care how old you are, you could be the oldest auntie or uncle, grandparent, whoever, but everybody comes here, behaves in a kind manner, or you can leave.
Hmm. Again, and as you go, like for me, it was very hard, very like difficult to kind of say something. I always wanted to keep the harmony in the family, right? Even the disrespectful aunts sometimes or uncles sometimes that are there, they say certain things to you like, oh my God, like you're like just a bag of bones, you're so tall but so skinny, you're like shapeless or things like that. When they will say things like that as I was growing up, I always kept quiet, because I didn't want to disrespect anyone. You're taught since you're young, especially, in our families, that, you stay quiet, you don't disrespect the elders. But I had my dad who always said something back, like, whatever he responded to these people and shut him up. But I've always had that I have to stay quiet. I had to stay quiet before and not say anything to the elders. But as I, started growing into my own person and as years go by, now I don't disrespect them, but I respectfully put them in their place. And sometimes that can some people don't even know that that's what they're doing, Miss Marlene. It's like they say things and they don't even think they're disrespectful or hurtful, and sometimes putting them in their place teaches them that, hey, yeah, what I'm saying to this child or to this young girl or young man, it's hurting them and it's going to make it worse in the future because of what I'm saying. So sometimes those, if you put someone in their place respectfully, sometimes that actually creates deeper bonds. It's happened to me.
Because I don't know, Miss Nixie. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up like what Robert was saying, that you have to go to things because so and so will be there and you have to be
Yep.
there, and that's your cousin, that's this person, that's and now with us going forward, if anybody, and if my brother is seeing, so like, what's going on with you? Oh, you don't want to be here? Okay. And they're like, okay, come on, everybody, we're going. Because if you don't feel comfortable, we don't feel comfortable. And that's the kind of atmosphere that you have to have. And yeah, it shouldn't make it be like one person feels left out or uncomfortable or slighted because of one individual.
hmm Again, it's, depending on how you want to have, what type of family you want to have. I think that's the for me, because you know just being raised by my dad, who was, again, for me, he was a nice, awesome guy. He did a good job with me. I cannot speak for my siblings, right? Because I don't want to lie. But I think that it was for them too. But for me, it was an amazing experience. I was raised by a dad and by himself, and I loved it. But not having a mom, that on itself, coming out from, the country that I come from, that is a no-no, especially in the time that she left. That was really frowned upon. Like, you were from being the so and so's daughters that had this prospects of invitations to parties or this and that. Now you're in a single, parent household. Now you're nobody, right? You don't get invited. You don't get, you know what I mean? Like a lot of families say, oh no, you don't hang around with her because she only has a dad. Or so coming from all of that, I was very shy, and I would just allow people to say whatever they wanted to because I didn't want to create any attention or call any attention on me. But as I got older and I started treating, myself and helping healing and everything like that, I found my voice. I'm not that
Yes.
policing all the time person. Now I have a voice. I speak my mind. I don't disrespect, but I'm not going to put up with you. I'm going to start to create bonds around people that I feel that are healthy, that are good for me, that are going to help me be a better person, and that I can be proud of. So all those things before, because I had all these reservations, I will allow people to say things and I wouldn't answer because you weren't supposed to, right? Answer back to to the elders or
Yes.
disrespect them. So, but now I don't, and I didn't want my kids to have to go through that, which is why I said no. I'm gonna surround myself with people that actually bring good things to us and out of us.
Yes, Miss Nexie. That's so important to see that, because I still was working on that, and like my nephews and other people who are like younger, they're like, "Why do you let them talk to you like that?" And it was, when you get so used to that, you kind of like,
Hmm.
you kind of step
Oh,
back
that's
and
how they are. That's how they
yeah,
are. She's
yeah.
always like that.
Yeah, and it's like, and they're like, no. They're like, don't talk to auntie like that. And I would be like, no, no, it's okay, it's okay. Because you don't want to be confrontational. But they're like,
Hmm.
no, you cannot let them keep disrespecting you, or it will continue forever. And one day I was like, they're right. No, don't talk to me like that. Like but you have to have sometimes somebody to be like, that's, you'll feel like it's not right, but if you have other people who just act like it's okay, and like it
Hmm.
doesn't matter, then you don't really feel like safe enough to speak up.
Yeah, once you feel that their presence or their relation or with you, their relationship with you, their presence or anything is not going to affect you in any way, that's when you start speaking up and saying, hey, I'm my own person. I don't need you. You're lucky to be around me. Once you have that, once you start realizing that, you are an individual, that those things hurt you or that you don't like certain things, and you start feeling more secure on who you are, that's when you can start speaking up and saying, you know what, yeah, I'm not going to lose anything or gain anything having you or not having you in my life with a person like that, right? So why am I putting up with you?
Yeah, you're so right, Miss Nexie. I wanted to say this. In talking about building family bonds, I know that it's not easy because not everybody has a lot of people that you can, have this sort of conversation, because some people are just unreasonable, and relatives, there are those that have some mental illness and some issues and immaturity. They're very dysfunctional or toxic. But I mean, if you, whoever it is that you have, even if you only have one other relative that you can be close with, build a bond with them and communicate and talk about how you feel. You don't have to have a whole bunch. We want that sometimes, but if it can't happen, focus on the people that you can have those bonds with, that you will feel safe with, and that you can be yourself around.
I could have not said it any better myself. Yes, Miss Marlene. Exactly. You don't have to have a full house to have one person that you deeply bond with or deeply care for each other. You can just have a small group, one or two people that in the family that you guys are bonded, for life, as they say. And I feel that sometimes because we come from families, Korean families are so huge, and everybody is in everybody's business because we grow up in that environment. Sometimes we think that we're supposed to be bonded with everybody, but that is not really the case. It's an unlikely situation. But you have to make sure that who you're with in the space that you're with, that you have, the people that you do have around you are top quality people. Again, that they make your day a better day, they make your life a better life, and they accept you, especially with us, for who we are. Because once you're healed and or you're going through your healing process, you're gonna lose a lot of people in your close family unit
Mm-hmm.
because they're gonna start seeing something they're not gonna like. You're not gonna be the little rag doll they can move around anymore. So once you start your mental health healing, those people that are around you to the end of that journey, those are the people that you're bonding with for life. Everybody else really wasn't there for you. Those are the people that you have to be close to and appreciate that they have stuck around through your entire journey. I have a handful of people like that. in my family that I appreciate for everything they have put up with me throughout the years, for all of my goods and bads, right? But it's a handful of people, but that's all I need in my family, because those are the best people that I can have my kids around, and my children love them, and they love my children, and they love me, and they're healthy minded people.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. It has to be a healthy, it has to be a safe space. You have to feel comfortable with one another. Those boundaries are enforced. And I think that's what a family is. And sometimes that family bond is not just blood relative. That family can be your best friends that turn into your sisters, or turn into your brothers, or turn into a cousin or a grandmother. But the whole thing about it is that whoever you feel close to, you it's a safe space.
Hmm.
It's supportive. You feel loved there. You feel seen and heard, and you're getting what you need so that you can be your best self. So great conversation. Any final words, Miss Nexie?
No, I think it's just pretty much what I said. Just make sure that you're surrounded by people that accept you for your faulty self, for your not so put together self, for your real you. Have family around you, even if it's just, again, a handful of people that are going to be in your circle, but that they accept you for who you are, with your faults and with your virtues, with everything, that they accept the person that you are. And that's it. You're going to be a rich and very fulfilled person if you have a group of people like that. And that's it, because life is short. Being
Yeah,
around
like
negative people, that doesn't bring anything good.
so right, so true. And I'm just going to end by saying, and make sure that you have healthy communication. Talk about how you feel. And if you need some space, give each other space. And all of those things. Just make sure if it's a safe environment, and make everybody who is in your family unit feel seen and heard, from the oldest to the youngest to the people who have special needs. Everybody deserves to be seen and heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Miss Marlene, even if you have that squirmy brother, the older one, you're always talking about your feelings. Oh, there you go. Let me go. Talk to him. Pin him down and tell him all your feelings, even if it's squirming on
Yeah.
that chair.
Yes, Miss Nexie. I have one of those squirmy brothers. Anytime when you try to, I'm like, you're not leaving here without that hug, and they'd be like, get off me.
Oh God, get off
But
me! There you go
and
with
Miss
your
Nexie,
feelings.
Miss Nexie, and guess what? They love it. They love that
Of
hug,
course
but
they
oh
do.
yeah, they love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, no, no. When I'm telling, I'm feeling so sad. This and that. Let me go. No, sit down. I want to tell you how I feel. I want to tell you about my. There you go with your feelings, and they run, and I follow. Tell me my feelings. So even
Yep.
that squirmy brother that don't want to listen to you, they don't want to do it because you are their sibling, and it pains them to see you in distress, regardless of how they react to it. So my brother, even though you know who you are, whenever I'm telling you all this and you're screaming in that chair, I'm enjoying every second of it. That's
Yeah.
the message, because in case he listens to this podcast.
Uh-oh. I didn't do anything, brother. I didn't do anything.
You didn't, Miss Marlene. It's me, and he get and the clears the throat, and he gets up, and then you're all about the feeling thing. I don't do that. I don't like that. But
Yeah.
even that brother, if it's a good person, even if he doesn't show you that he is for you, but he's always there for you, include him
Mm-hmm.
and harass them with your feelings.
Yes, I'll say that. I'll say that too, because I am that sister that, even if they don't, because I think sometimes it's very difficult for the men in our family, because they have to be tough, they have to be strong, but also, sometimes just grab them and snatch them up and hug them and give them some kisses, even though they're like, get off me. They secretly, they walk
Yeah.
away. I see them. They walk away and they smile. They will pretend they're macho, but the men in our family, they need those hugs and that love too, and to be told how valuable and important they are.
Yeah, because they're not supposed to be weak. And that's the one thing, with my boys, that's the one thing I said from the very beginning. I'm gonna hug them, I'm gonna kiss them, I'm gonna do everything. And even though it was difficult for my husband in the beginning to, be that close and that father loving, like showing your love to your sons, right? Because with girls it's different for dads. They're all very soft,
Mm-hmm.
but with the boys they're different. But I told them, you have to show them that you love them. You have to show them how to love too, because they're boys. Don't keep them at an arm's length, because they're gonna grow up and that's how they're gonna keep you. Because since he didn't have that relationship with his dad, Miss Marlene, he didn't know how to. So we have to
Mm-hmm.
break all those um, points in our family, all those bad habits in our family. Oh, don't kiss your sons, men, don't kiss your sons because, oh, they're supposed to be macho. No, they're not. They're your sons. Kiss them, hug them. They're your sons. That's going to teach them how to love another person, their own children as they get older. You know what I mean? So you always have to hug and
Mm-hmm.
kiss your kids so
Yeah,
they don't have to
male
be
and
squirming
female.
around like our brothers.
Yeah,
So they don't
I was
scream
like,
around like our brothers.
I say, I said, don't try to run out. I said, come and get this hug, and they're like, oh
Give me
my
a
goodness,
kiss.
and
Ew.
I could see the smile on their. I was like, are you smiling? You like
No,
this?
I,
No, I don't.
no, I
Get
don't.
off me, man! Get off me!
Yeah, I just cannot get you off of me because you're always there with the feelings. That's why I let you do it, because I know you won't let me go. Are you talking about my brother or your brother?
Oh, both, both.
Both. There's always that one brother, right? That is always
There's always
squirmy.
that one brother. Mm-hmm.
Well, Miss Marlene, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thank
I love
you.
our sip and
Thank you, guys.
chats.
I love the sip and
Thanks
chat, and this
everyone
is
for supporting Miss Marlene.
Thank you. And this is episode 60. I can't believe it. 60 episodes.
Already?
So,
Oh my
mhm.
goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys back next week. Thank you for
Yes, we
tuning in.
will. Thank you for
Bye
tuning in. And
bye.
don't forget to press that like button and subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye, Miss
Bye,
Marlene.
everybody. Bye.